You are waiting for that doorbell to ring, aren't you? Christmas Spirit 1053. I'm Erica, and our very special guest today is a counselor from Focus on the Family, Joni DeBrito. Welcome. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Joni, I love what we're going to cover today. Adult children coming home for Christmas. I feel like it's those unmet expectations that we have that get us into trouble.
You are right on there.
So how do you steer clear of those?
Really, the best thing to do is to talk about those expectations ahead of time.
Yes.
So people need to be having those conversations right now if they're getting together for Christmas and talk about what are my expectations, what are your expectations. So typically, if parents hear, oh, so-and-so's coming home for Christmas, all of a sudden they launch into making all kinds of plans. And the plans often step on the toes of their younger children who are coming home. They're adult children, obviously, but they're younger than they are.
Yeah.
And their children are thinking, oh, yeah, I want to spend some time at home with mom and dad, whomever, but I also have lots of things I want to do with friends that I get to reconnect with when I'm at home,
Yes.
etc. So if you have the conversation ahead of time and say, here's what I'm thinking in terms of the time that you're home, what are you thinking, and you can figure out where you agree and then negotiate about the places where you disagree, you're going to be much more likely to have a happy time together.
I like that. And then you've got these grown-up kids who are living independently and suddenly they're home and mom or dad is saying, text me when you leave, that event. So how do you handle that aspect of kids coming home?
That's the other thing that it's important for people to talk about. Number one, from the adult child's perspective, they really need to remind mom and dad, I am an adult, I'm living independently, and I would say something like this, not to be shaming toward them, or just remember that there's no need for you to check up on me anymore, and maybe have some ground rules in place. Sometimes parents have some great reasons for kind of wanting to keep up on what their kids are doing. Here's just a really funny little story about a mother and her son that went back and forth and kind of had an argument, and she finally said, look, here's the deal. And the issue was that she actually had an alarm system in her house. And so she was trying to figure out when her son was coming back so he wouldn't accidentally walk into a situation where the alarm went off and she didn't want to have to explain it. And so she kept texting, are you coming, are you not? And, obviously he got upset, like, I'm not 12 years old. And so there was a really good reason. So, again, that communication is really important. And also, you are coming back to your parents' home, and so they may just have a level of comfort that's different from what your level of comfort is now. So that's something to talk about. I have known many people who will say, it's just really hard to get out of that concern for your child regardless of their age. So for us, if you're not coming home, it's fine. Do whatever you want to do. Find a place to stay or whatever. Just let us know. But a lot of parents aren't comfortable with their kids just showing up at 2 or 3 in the morning. So that's okay. It's okay to say, hey, this is our home, and we still have a few rules here, and so we just, want you to respect them. And we will also respect your privacy and your right to be away from home at times when you want to be away from home.
Oh, that's so good. What do you do if your feelings get hurt as a mom or dad because your kids do, like you were saying, want to spend time with their friends? How do you manage those feelings and emotions?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to recognize that that's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, as people are developing into young adulthood, it's really important for them to form relationships in their peer groups, to have friends. That's good. We don't want kids to be lonely.
Yeah.
We want them to have those relationships. So think about that as, okay, this is a really good thing. Now, it goes to an extreme when someone comes home and they hang their hat there and they might show up, to sleep for 5 hours and they're gone the whole time.
Yeah.
That, again, is one of those things where it's very realistic for a parent to say, I get that you need to have some time with your friends and so forth. That's actually a really great thing. But can we at least talk about, having some times together that are quality times as opposed to you're just coming and going and using this as a place to sleep.
It's a dance for sure, I'm hearing.
It is. A dance is the right word.
Joni, I want to ask you, we all get so excited when our grown-up kids come home. We're like little
Yes.
kids, but then they go back again. They leave after the holidays. So how do you cope with those emotions?
Well, I think a good thing to do while they're home is to talk about, hey, I know that things are changing for you and I still want to stay connected. What are some ways that work well for you? You know, can we connect on a weekly basis via this, via that? I would say that text is not the best way to connect because, as you know, it's just words, and so you can't hear the intonation of someone's voice. There are a lot of misunderstandings that happen over text because people don't know, was that a joke? Was that person serious? What have you? And so it's best to either talk by phone or talk virtually over the computer. But for most people, if they have an idea that they're going to be able to connect regularly. Now, I will say that what's regular in a parent's mind is often very different in an adult child's mind or a young adult's mind. So they might say, oh, yeah, we'll connect once a month, and the parent is thinking twice a week or something.
Sure.
That's probably, now it depends on the relationship. Some parents and adult children are very close and they naturally connect regularly, and so they don't really even have to talk about it. But if it's something where you haven't had a lot of connection and you want a little bit more, you could say that. You could say, it's been great, seeing you have your own life and develop your own life, but we do still want to be connected. Seems like we only talk about once every fill in the blank. Could we talk a little bit more often and see if you can negotiate that with your young adult child?
So good. Joni DeBrito from Focus on the Family, thank you so much for being with us.
You are so welcome.
Merry Christmas. You're a treasure.
You too. Thanks for calling and thanks for having me on your show.